What's up, everybody? Great Lakes here, and no intro, no outro, nothing fancy, no editing. This is just me, my research, and Ohio Senate Bill 215, which gives Ohio the constitutional carry. Crap, BS. It's not. Okay, look. Ohio is not a constitutional carry state. It is a concealed handgun carry without a permit state. There are stipulations that I don't care for with this Ohio Senate Bill 215, and I'm going to discuss them. So here we go. So here we go, guys. It's dumb, all right? Ohio is not a constitutional carry state. It's not. Ohio is carrying a concealed handgun without a license state. And how do I know that? These 33 pages say all that crap. Alright? All this is just a bunch of hogwash. Just crap. It's crap. It's garbage. It's trash. If you're trying to say we're a constitutional carry state. And we are not. Okay? So, let's be clear. Nothing has changed on where you can carry your firearm. You can't carry it into schools, police stations. Most government buildings aren't going to allow it. There's no changes there. There is some confusing language on, oh, this is so annoying too. Look, it says right here, 2C. Says no person shall knowingly transport or have a loaded firearm on a vessel in a manner that the firearm is accessible to the operator or any passenger. All right. But then later on down here, right here, B1, all right. A person who is a qualifying adult shall not be required to obtain a concealed handgun license in order to carry in the state under the authority of Division B2. That's kind of confusing. But let's look, what's a qualifying adult? Let's go back up here, right here. Qualifying adult, 21 years of older, 21 years of age and older, so you can go die for your country. You can shoot fully automatic M4s, M16s. You could launch mortars, rockets, fly drones that drop bombs, but you can't carry a concealed handgun if you're not military in the state of Ohio. I will not even get into that whole military who can't. There's disarmament discharge, you can. There's a whole bunch of stuff to it. All right, as long as you're not legally prohibited from carrying a firearm in the state of Ohio and you're 21 years of age or older, you can carry a loaded firearm, loaded handgun. I keep saying firearm, loaded handgun, because you can't have a concealed rifle. Well, who's going to conceal a rifle in their clothing? In the state of Ohio, being in the vehicle is considered concealed. That's one of the main reasons I got my concealed permit, was to carry a loaded handgun in my vehicle. So let's look. Where is it? Let me make sure I find this real quick. So I showed you the vessel thing, right? Let's go back up real quick. I showed you C. All right. Unless, of course, when you're transporting it, you get these different ones, 1 and 2. Discuss how. Let's go back to page, I think it's page 3. Yeah. So, for purposes of this, or any other, this is all additional. This is all new. Everything underlined is new. If it's changed, it'd be a line through it to strike it. Then they'll put an underlined section. This is Ohio Revised Code 2923.111, C1A. Okay. Let's go C1. For all these provisions in these codes, 2923. Blah blah blah, of the ORC or of any other section of the Ohio Revised Code that refers to a concealed handgun license or concealed handgun license, except when the context clearly indicates otherwise, all of the following apply. A, B, C, D, E. It's basically redundancy. All right. So if we look at A says a person who is a qualifying adult and is carrying or has concealed on the person's person or ready at hand a handgun that is not a restricted firearm, which is Ohio Revised Code 2923.11 G through M. Yeah, G through M. And that's stuff like, if you convert a starter pistol into a functioning firearm that will shoot a projectile, cannons post 1887 model, weird. So if I make a cannon today that's a pre 1887 model that doesn't have pneumatics, hydraulics, and things like that, it's legal. Bunch of weird stipulations in there. Check them out, some pretty cool stuff. So, um, as long as it's not a restricted firearm, as it would be as if the person has been issued a concealed handgun license. So if you are a qualifying adult and it is not one of the restricted firearms, then it's like you have a valid handgun license. It says it right here at the bottom. Um, where do you go? Is not restricted firearm. As if the person had been issued a concealed handgun license or had been issued a concealed handgun license that is valid at the particular point in time. As if means like just as if like you had one. And C says the same basic thing. It says if there's conduct that it says you can't do this unless you have this permit. So D says the same kind of thing. D is my favorite one. If the application of the provision to a person depends on whether the person is or is not a concealed handgun licensee, the provision shall be applied to a person who is a qualifying adult in the same manner as if the person was a concealed handgun licensee. They all say the same basic thing, just small little changes. And then E, of course, the same kind of thing. So it's dumb. The redundancy is dumb. This is not constitutional carry, okay? There are no changes on where you can and cannot carry. There are no changes to the difference between what an allowable firearm is versus one that is an unauthorized or a firearm that's going to get you in trouble, which is something that you've converted basically. So I'm looking at this and there's really nothing spectacular. The only thing that I have found that's worth a darn is these two things I'm going to show you. There's two things I'm going to show you. This one here, if the person, as of June 13th, this is no longer a thing. If you are stopped for law enforcement purposes and you are carrying a concealed handgun, you were required by law to notify the officer as soon as possible. Now you don't. You don't have to. But if the officer asks you if you're carrying a firearm, you are required by law, which says it right here, to do so. If the person is stopped for a law enforcement purpose and is carrying a concealed handgun, here's the new stuff. Before or at the time a law enforcement officer asks if the person is carrying a concealed handgun, if you knowingly fail to disclose that information, the person then is carrying a concealed handgun, provided it is not a violation of this division. But if the person fails to disclose the fact to an officer during the stop, and that person has already notified another officer. So what this says is, if the cop asks you, you have to tell them if you are. If, say, there's 10 cops on the scene, one asks you, you tell them yes, then you don't tell anybody else. One of the other guys find it and get all butthurt about it. This right here says that you are not required to let them know. But I would tell them. Just tell them. I'm not an attorney. I'm not trying to give you legal advice. I'm just trying to tell you what's going to help keep you from potentially getting shot, tased, beaten, arrested, charged, thrown in jail, kidnapped, thrown in the dungeon. Who knows, for a weekend or what, because someone isn't, sure of what's going on. And I guarantee you, I can promise you, the state of Ohio is going to have a problem with this for several months because these officers, I can almost promise you, have not been trained on how to adjust to the changes with the laws. It's just the deal. That's how it's going to be. If you get pulled over or stopped, the officer stopped you for a law enforcement reason, don't touch it. Don't reach for it. Keep your hands in plain sight. If you do anything stupid like that, it's a chargeable offense. If the officer says, okay, remove it from wherever it is, be very, very clear that they are asking. So you want me to take my right hand, put it on my right hip, grab the pistol out of my right holster, and sit it where? It is loaded. There's one in the chamber. It's ready to go. However you want to say it, but make sure you just absolutely just step by step. Here's exactly what I'm going to do. If this is what you want me to do, you sure you want me to do that? Okay, I will do that. That's what you tell me to do. You tell me to do that? Okay, I'll do that. Can you grab it for me? That's me. I'll say all that stuff, and then can you just take it, hands way up in the air? I'm like, I'm 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 reaching to the sky. I'm trying to tickle the clouds. I am not going to touch my firearm unless I absolutely have to, in the presence of law enforcement. And then here's the last thing that I like right here. I like this. I'm pointing at it. I know you see me, but I'm like this right here. I like this. This is the only thing that I like that they've done, because I'm going to notify an officer if I'm carrying anyways. Just, I know I don't have to, but I'm going to, because if they see the bulge, they flip out. So if before today, June 13th, so June 12th and previous to today, if a person was convicted, or pleads guilty to, or has pled guilty to a violation of not notifying them that you are carrying upon approach, as it existed prior to today, the effective date today, you may file an application for an expungement of the record. You can apply to get your record expunged if you have been convicted of, pled guilty to, or haven't quite been, you pled guilty to an offense and were convicted, or you are currently going through litigation and have pled guilty, or are facing charges on this. You can actually apply for expungement of the charge, because this change right here, how many times do they do something like this in these laws when they make changes? It's very rare. Like when marijuana was decriminalized in Toledo, do you think they said, well, whoever's been hit with a marijuana charge, just apply for an expungement, everyone gets out of jail? No way. No way. So this is, I applaud them for this. The rest of this crap, I mean, they're like just a whole bunch of filler now. There's really not much left that matters, really. That just talks about how you can get your rights suspended and things like that. And if you have a license, what you do with it. When they take it away, they request it. So if you get a TPO, CPO, or any other protective order, they'll send you something in the mail usually and say, return your license. If you get arrested and all this happens, they take your license away from you. That's just what that's about. And then, of course, they let you know, hey, you've got this going on. You can't carry now. So you'll be notified. I'm like 20 seconds from being done, and I get a pop-up. That's funny. Road and Tow Show's coming back, I guess. Sweet. Good to see. Road Dogs Media and Tow for Life. Good dudes, good dudes. Get to spend some time out recording a fire scene, and I showed them how I get close to my scenes, and then the police come up like, you can't be doing it. Back up, back up. This ain't your scene, buddy. You know what? I just might throw that video out there tonight, just to throw it out there. Great response from the officers once they realized what was going on. They knew who I was. I've spoken with one of them before. Very nice guy, but he was just, those four of them, and you know how they get. So the Fire Chief Blair for Toledo Fire Department is my favorite government official that I've dealt with in the past, year and a half, 2 years. So, guys, this is Ohio's constitutional carry bill. Ohio Senate Bill 215 goes into effect today, June 13th, 2022. It is in effect. So you guys, be careful, be safe, take care of yourself and each other, and always remember, keep your booger hook off the bang switch until you're ready to make it go boom.